I'm here in the award-winning Miracle Mile restaurant at Club Menangle. This, along with the other function areas, the Tanya Harris marquees, the function areas above us, and also the Sportsman's Bar, have all been in lockdown over the past 3 months, in hibernation, so to speak. When you come to Menangle and experience a wonderful dining experience here at the Miracle Mile restaurant, you also see the stars racing under the stars on the world's fastest track as far as the Southern Hemisphere is concerned. Now, will this hibernation be ending very shortly after the announcement by the state government and medical authorities? With all the information is the CEO of Club Menangle, Mr. Bruce Christensen. Well, Bruce, the big question is, when will these function areas come out of hibernation?
Well, Michael, they're certainly ready to wake up, that's for sure. We've got a few steps we've got to, answer before we can actually give a date to opening. And the most important one of those is we need to make sure we protect the racing side of things. So we need assurance that the section of the business, the hospitality section, will be treated separately to the stabling and the racetrack part of the business. So if there was to be a positive, which we can't rule out, if that happened in the hospitality section of our business, that wouldn't impact our racing. So that's very important. It's been amazing. We've got through to this point without any, with a couple of scares, but no actual positive tests in harness racing that have stopped us. So we want to make sure we keep it that way. So that'll be the most important thing. From there, we're confident that we will be able to at least open the restaurant. Then we're waiting on some rulings around what determines a separate hospitality area. So we can have 50 people for each hospitality area, but as I say, we need some guidelines around what designates a separate area. So we're hopeful we might be able to argue we can have 2 or 3 of those areas, which would enable us to have potentially 150 people here. Can go all the way up to 500. We also, of course, need to make sure that's manageable as well, because we don't want any issues either that result in positive test results to COVID, but also we don't want anything that's likely to damage us reputation-wise. So those matters need to be organised and managed well. And so as we get answers on those questions, which we hope to have this week, then we'll be able to give a definite date when we can have people back here in the restaurant.
Yeah, you've touched on the grey area, Bruce, as far as the opening of venues. Like if a restaurant or a club or pub open with their 50 patrons, they're putting one venue at risk. You're not only putting a venue at risk, you're putting the entire industry at risk.
That's exactly right, Michael. That's our concern. So, as I say, without the assurance that they will be treated separately, and we'll need to make sure there's separation between them. So what that will mean is if owners or other participants come along to the track here and come to the restaurant, they won't be allowed to go down to the stable area. They will need to remain in the separate area. Essential persons only, of course, is still a situation for the racing part of the business. So only people who are involved in the race meeting in any capacity can actually go into the stabling areas, etc. And they'll have to stay the same way going forward. Well, at least for the foreseeable future. So we'll make sure we can separate those. Once we're comfortable we can do that, we'll take those protocols forward, and hopefully we get the tick to say that yes, the stabling area will be treated separately to the hospitality areas of our business.
At this stage, it may be just a little bit early for you to elaborate, Bruce, but how would you be dealing with patrons coming in and out of Menangle?
Yeah, that's a good question, mate. So one of the strengths we have here is the ability to bring people into different sections. So our participants have been great at following the instructions where horse floats, etc., go around the back of our track. They don't come to the main, I suppose, what you call the public entrance to the racetrack. So in a separated world, we would have people coming to the hospitality part, would come into our main car park, come through the main foyer entrance to the building, and the participants would continue to come around the back of the racetrack to the stabling area. So that would be the way we would sort of achieve that separation from the time people arrive.
Now, Bruce, would bookings be essential so that you could tick people's names on the list and then tick them off once they leave?
That's the expectation at the moment, is especially in the short term, we think that's the way it will need to work. We also think that's the way it will need to work just from a practicality point of view. So we don't want a situation where people are coming out to here and being turned away at the door. So we would certainly be encouraging people to make a reservation so they know they're booked in. We are expecting to do a couple of different sittings. So one thing will definitely change, we know, with hospitality, at least in the foreseeable future, is no buffets. And of course, the Miracle Mile restaurant has been famous for buffets parfaits over the years, but at least at this stage, it will be changing the menus. It'll be plated services, and that's going to be something we'll see in all venues now for some time at least. So that's the way we'll change to cater for that. But we'll keep adapting as we need to make sure that we can look after people. But I think it's important people make reservations, because as I say, the last thing we want is people to travel out here to be told when they get to the venue that we've reached our capacity, whatever that may be deemed.
Well, Bruce, it's been a big plus that we've been able to continue racing under these very extreme circumstances. As the CEO, you and your board must be very proud of what the participants have done, the trainers, the owners, still providing their horses, the drivers, along with your race day staff and, of course, the stewards panel.
The cooperation has been absolutely amazing. I mean, I don't know that anyone could honestly have stood here a couple of months ago, given the dramas we were seeing, and thought that we could continue racing without incident through this whole period. And that's due to the cooperation of the participants and, as you say, the officials as well. But it's been absolutely outstanding. And yes, I'm very proud to be associated with an industry that looks after themselves to that extent. I mean, if we stopped racing, the ability for people to earn is taken away. And the approach that they've taken and the professional approach they've taken has ensured that we've been able to continue racing right through this period.
Well, Bruce, before we move on to what's happening with the Country Club, which is situated 500 or 600 metres just up the road, finally, as far as the Clubman Angle is concerned, when do you envisage a possible opening date for patrons once again?
So it does depend a little on the answers we're waiting for. It could be as early as a fortnight. Is what we'd like to think. Worst case scenario, I really would think it would be by the end of June. Should be the worst case. Now, we don't know what that number is yet. We would like to think it's minimum of 50, but we would like to think we can run an argument that should be as high as 150 to 200 given the floor space that we have in this complex.
Well, let's talk about the Country Club just situated up the road, 50 people there. What's the situation there?
So a little bit similar. It will open on Monday, so the 1st of June is when it will open for at least 50 people. Again, we're waiting on these definitions of what is a separate hospitality area. So we believe there should be 2 areas designated, which would give us the ability to have 100 people in the venue at any one time. That was the number we were working to before we were closed down back in March. So we're very confident we can work to those same numbers. The staff have been planning towards an opening. We were pleasantly surprised that the number of 50 came up probably sooner than we thought it would. So we're excited to have the opportunity to actually trade back inside the venue. We've been doing our takeaway and delivery services, which is great that we've been able to continue to at least do something. It's kept some more staff employed. The JobKeeper wage has been great for us as well. That's helped us further, and will continue to help us as we open with what is still challenging numbers, because let's face it, whilst 100 people in the venue at one time in certain stages of the week is not a bad result. At other times, it's certainly far less than we'd like to have in there. So from a profit point of view, it's still not a perfect world, but at least we're gradually sort of returning to what you consider as normality.
Last week you started a special promotion for the participants in harness racing as far as the Clubman Angle is concerned. Very welcome one, and I guess you're showing your gratitude for their efforts in keeping the industry alive.
Yeah, for sure. So we're hoping that that's something that they can take advantage of. We know the food up there is of great quality, and having that available as they leave the venue, I think, is a great thing for them. So I know certainly some have been frequenting there on the way out of leaving the venue. So no, but as you say, certainly very much anything we can do to show our appreciation for what they've done through these very difficult times, we'd certainly love to do. And
in just a space of a few short weeks following the grand opening of the Country Club, you were certainly getting rave reviews. No doubt people will be queuing up to get back into the venue.
Yeah, certainly hope so. I mean, we know that there may be some nervous people about getting back out into the world, but by the same token, I'm sure there's plenty who can't wait to do that. So we're hoping to find a middle ground there, and that we'll get plenty of people wanting to sort of venture out. And as you say, we were getting fantastic reviews for those who saw it on following Miracle Mile Night. It was absolutely outstanding. The number of participants that were up there after the races kicking on was fantastic. So it was great to see them take advantage of that opportunity. But just 7 days a week, it's been doing very well in those opening days, and we can't wait to get back to that with all the hard work that went into opening it up. So it's exciting to hopefully be very close to getting it back underway again, and hopefully also back here at the racetrack very soon.
It's also exciting, the footy's just around the corner.
Yes, so certainly been quite weekends with no football as well. Can't go to the racing, can't watch any football. So yes, as you know, I'm a footy tragic as well. So very keen to seeing that start again as well.
I won't ask you how the Sharks are going. You've been under enough pressure the last weeks, but it's good to see you smiling. Thanks for joining us on Clubman Angle TV, Bruce.
Thanks, Michael. And we can't go any worse than we started. So hopefully the better days ahead.